and more people are starting to question the food they're eating. They're going beyond labels and marketing material to really look at the ingredients, which begs the question, shouldn't we also be questioning the food we give our pets? Dr. Jeff Feinman is a holistic veterinarian who helps empower pet parents by bridging the gap between conventional veterinary medicine and holistic health. I recently asked Jeff about what type of food is best for our pets. So today we're talking about our pets, and Dr. Jeff is back with us. So Dr. Jeff, one of the big questions I know that I have as a parent to a pet is what to feed my dog. And I know we all have different types of pets, and I get that. It'd be kind of hard to go through the entire list of what we consider a pet. So for today's conversation, I love to just talk about cats and dogs. So what should cats and dogs be eating? Because I kind of get the no, people shake their finger at me when I give my dog a piece of apple or something, that I would eat that's good for my body. It's like we've been ingrained to think that it's got to come from a bag that says pet food or a can that says cat food or whatever. But what is your take on that? What should we be feeding our cats and dogs?
Sorry, I could answer this in a lot of different ways, but I think the bottom line is if it's good for us, it's good for them.
Okay.
There are a few exceptions to foods like grapes and raisins and chocolate that we want to avoid feeding our dogs and cats, but I think the general rule is the freshest food possible, fresh, not processed, or dog food, which is ultra processed, or cat food, which is ultra processed. Fresh, varied, and in moderation. So those three words are really the three things that I focus on the most. And again, fresh means fresh food versus processed or ultra processed foods. So fresh meat, fresh veggies, fresh. Again, if it's good for us. I mean, there's a wonderful book called The Fresh and Flexible Diet, which talks about basically sharing our food with our animals, knowing what may be good or bad in one way or the other, and not sharing your pizza, not sharing your McDonald's, but rather, you've got nice wholesome salads or the apples that you mentioned. Yes, it's good to be sharing, and actually, the more variety, the better.
Okay.
They have become adapted to eating one food only all the time. So if you change their diet, if they've been eating one food all the time, you change the diet, they may get diarrhea, and the vet will say, "Well, see, change his diet." It's like, no, it's not really the understanding of balance, because balance means that you're resilient enough to have any diet, any food in your diet, and you want to expose them to all kinds of food. And you mentioned the fruits. Anything but grapes and raisins is fine in the fruit realm. My favorites are wild blueberries, organic kale. I mean, you never know. I have my cats steal the salad out of our salad bowl. You never know what they're gonna like. They're all individuals like snowflakes.
Yeah, that's a good point because that's how we are as humans, right? Some people like tomatoes, sometimes, some people don't like tomatoes. So it's not that all dogs or all cats like certain things, they all have their own individual tastes as well.
And I do want to bring in the one other thing, I'm really a big fan of species appropriate, feeding the food that you're meant to be eating. Whether it's meat for a carnivore or, a vegan diet for people, because I think the research is very clear that veganism is good for people in general and that many health problems will go away. But the other factor I want to bring in was the sustainability. I think that maybe we want to have our pets on a reducitarian diet. So maybe not vegetarian, maybe not vegan, but reducing the amount of meat that's in their diet and focusing more on the fresh fruits and vegetables and good phytonutrients. And but I'm afraid you're gonna make get a bunch of correspondence about this because there's a big, strong advocacy among a bunch of dog and cat people that only want to feed meat,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
that's great if that's all that your animal wants. But I firmly believe that we need to offer meat and offer something else. There are some individuals that'll choose the broccoli and the bread over the meat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and when the pet food on the bag says with chicken or whatever, that's not really what we're talking about here, guys. All of that stuff is processed. But it's amazing to me how much we just go to that and how it's ingrained in so many people's brains that, well, it says dog food or it's wet dog food or it's that's better than dry. Is there any truth to that, by the way, something being wet versus dry?
That's a great question. There's more carbohydrates and fillers in the dry foods, and from my point of view, it's really about the vitality of the food, the energy in the food.
Okay.
And yeah, the wet food is going to have a higher vitality than the dry food. And actually, there's more and more evidence that actually many of the dry foods have something in them called, and actually the wet food can as well, but not as much as the dry, advanced glycation end products that can actually be instigators for cancer and other disease.
Oh, wow.